All right, so, Commissioner, let's reflect on this. I know that it's been quite a while since we had you on the program. So what's happening to your ministry? So far, so good this year.
Thank you very much. So far, so good this year. We have been on a drive, especially around how we can improve on revenue generation activities for the ministry. We know that agriculture is that one sector where you have endless possibilities, for the fact that you have several value chains where several food items can be produced, and the chain also almost being endless from the point of input to the point where it gets to food.
Right.
On the plate of a consumer. You have several actors that can participate within that chain. So
right.
It means that the possibilities are endless, like I said. And the ministry had it for the last couple of months, trying to put together a roadmap around how to be able to harness these opportunities, for us to be able to draw private sector investors into the space,
right.
for us to be able to show multilateral agencies the direction in which we want to go,
right.
and also to show partners, sister states, what we would like to do with them towards ensuring that we have a better and a more food secure Lagos.
And I hear this is a 5-year road plan, right?
Yes, so it's a living document. I wouldn't want to use the number 5 to constrain it, because as a living document, it means that every month, every year, you would be adding to it. So 5 years, yes, that is at least for the short term.
Okay.
But being a longer term plan, it would definitely evolve, and it could end up being a 10-year, 15-year, 25 years, 50-year document. So for starters, we are just looking at the immediate to see what we can do to address the situation, to address the challenges we face as a state around feeding over 22 million people. That is what we are currently looking at now.
So let's reflect on that, really, because if we have a sector that is potentially very, very rich, and it's a sector which also people can really make money from, let's talk about the investment opportunities that lie within the agriculture in Lagos.
So for the investment opportunities, I'll categorize them into three, like the way you have any value chain. You have the upstream, which is where you have the actual production or actual input purchases done and what have you around production. You talk about paddy aggregation, not necessarily paddy now, because I think seem to be talking more about rice.
Yes,
you have
I know rice is
yes,
the equation right
exactly.
now.
Exactly, you have aggregation happening at that point. You have some sort of logistics at that point as well. You move to the midstream section. This is where you have the value addition, the processing facilities coming up and what have you around the different value chains. And then for downstream, this is where you have the sales, marketing, distribution, up to the point where it gets to the wholesaler, the retailer, up to the final consumer. So across these three segments of the value chain, there are immense opportunities there. So it's just a function of where anyone chooses to play. It could be in logistics, it could be in the actual production, it could be in setting up factories for processing, it could be in warehousing and storage solutions, provision and what have you, or it could actually be in the marketing of it. So there are so many things that can be done. Even when you talk of value addition or the processing, you could actually get into packaging as well. So there are so many things that can be done within these three segments, that for any investor with the capacity, with the wherewithal, with the finances to go into it, then they can tap into the opportunities.
So what are the fun? I mean, for those who are really interested now, you just mentioned the enormous opportunities that are inherent within the agri sector in Lagos. So how can they participate? What are the levels of participation? You just talk about the upstream, the midstream, even the downstream. How can people tap into these opportunities?
So in terms of tapping into the opportunities, we'll be putting out expressions of interest in the coming week. For the value chains of focus right now, we're focusing on fisheries and red meat value chain in particular as a state. Paddy aggregation, obviously, as well for rice. It's also coming up. But more importantly, for the red meat value chain, for instance, we're putting out expressions of interest on the 19th of April. And what we would like is to have partners around feedlots, centers, fattening centers for cows. We would want to have partners around setting up of new abattoirs. We want to have partners around meat shop creations. We want standardized meat shops in our state. We're also looking to have those who would be collecting animal waste for recycling purposes. We'll be looking at those who have existing veterinary clinics, but we want them standardized in such a way that across board we know that these are where these vet clinics are located, and these are where people can actually meet with them them or liaise with them.
Right.
We're looking for those who will partner with us around livestock hubs, for us to have proper hubs around where animals could be sold, where they could be bought, and what have you. And then you have endless possibilities also with regards to the fisheries sector, which is divided into the aquaculture and the actual artisanal fisheries. Here we have fishermen who in times past have not really had much focus on them. But this is an indigenous occupation for the people of Lagos, and we feel that it's about time that our fisheries sector also receives a boost. Trawling activities in our waters is taking place by foreigners. These fishes are taken out of our waters, taken abroad and exported back to us as frozen fish. Why can't our fishermen be empowered enough to be able to go into large-scale fish trawling, such that in terms of what we need as a state, we are also being able to provide for us? So
let's look at what we need now, even as a state, before I ask the next question of how people can put their resources, their funding into it. So as I speak today, what are the needs, the consumption needs now? The red meat, what is the consumption level for meat, for fish, for food, chicken? What does it look like in Lagos?
Okay, so for red meat, I'll be looking at, in terms of demand, that will be over 350,000 metric tons of beef. That is about 1.8 million heads of cattle. That is what we consume annually as a state. With regards to production, we know that Lagos has historically not been into ranching or into setting up of feedlots or anything. So essentially, the red meat value chain for Lagos has always been very transactional, which means we are buying cattle, slaughtering immediately. But this also means that when you have supply chain challenges or bottlenecks, then you're going to have scarcity.
Like we had in February and March.
And when scarcity sets in, it means that you get to pay higher prices for these foods, which is not in the best interest of Lagosians, where we end up paying almost 5 times more than what is being paid by other consumers in other states. When you talk about the fisheries value chain, we need over 400,000 metric tons of fish. That is what Lagosians consume annually. We currently produce roughly about 174,000 tons of fish. We have the waters, both coastal, lagoon, sea. We have these waters, and yet we are not able to produce enough for what we consume. So that is not right, which is why we need private sector partnership in this space as well, to be able to harness what we have in our waters, that we are food secure, especially around fisheries. When it comes to poultry, we demand well over 250,000 metric tons of meat bird, but we produce just roughly about 72,000 tons right now. And then the poultry sector was also hit bad by the avian flu. I think that is even happening right now. And then also cost of feed has been a major impediment in this industry because of the ban on importation of maize. So you see that a lot of poultry owners, they are shutting down their farms. And we are seeking, you know what, we need to set up feed mills. We need to set up a production of maize in such a way that we are also able to secure this space. We can't keep importing frozen foods. We can't keep importing frozen birds. We have people here who need jobs. We have people here who have the ability, who have the capacity, people who are interested in this space. It is our job to ensure that at least we encourage them.
And that's where I'm going to come in here at this point, really, because those who have the capacity and those who have the ability now, let's begin to integrate them. So I have 250,000 naira, or somebody has 500,000 naira. How can he get into this value chain that is within the agri sector that is enormously rich, as the case may be? So can you just give an advice?
Okay, so let's assume you have 500,000. Now, to start off with, I would want to know, do you have land to even be able to get into the space?
So let's say I don't have land.
Okay, so you don't have land. You write an application to the Ministry of Agriculture requesting for agric land. That letter gets to me. I send this letter to my ministry officials, from the permanent secretary to the Agric Lands Holding Authority. We send you back an acknowledgement, and then there's an appraisal form that is sent to you for us to understand what exactly do you want to get into, what value chain, how much land do you really require, what financial computations have you done to show that, yes, this is actually going to be a sustainable business. It's one thing to have 500,000 naira. It's another thing for you to still be able to show that even with 500,000 naira, you mean business and you are going to find solutions around how this business will be sustainable. Are you getting into partnerships with anyone? Where would you be getting your inputs from? Would it be on credit, such that we know that even with the 500,000 you have, it's still sustainable enough to expand the business in such a way and manner that we know that, yes, when we give you the land, it's not just going to be fallow and then we just have lands allocated and people are not making use of it.
And I love the way you've broken it down, Honourable Commissioner. But peradventure, somebody is not really keen in all this long long processes. All he just wants is to put down money and get some return. So do we have a kind of structure on ground that can encourage that?
So the truth of the matter is, as a government, we wouldn't say, give us the money. It's more or less like a crowdfunding kind of opportunity now that you're referring to.
Yes.
And I know that in the society we have crowdfunding businesses that are asking people to put down money into the agri sector for them to be able to use that money as capital for them to have some returns on investment.
Right.
What we as a government should be doing, and we would be doing, is to regulate, to ensure that where people are putting in their monies, it is actually transparent, it is free and devoid of malicious intent. But apart from that, this is where I believe even the likes of, I don't know, maybe it is SEC or some other institution as a body in Nigeria should actually step in. This is even just not about the Lagos state government now.
Right.
This is about the federal government also stepping in to regulate, to ensure that people are not also being scammed, because we need to be careful. Agric is not that one sector where you put in money and you say in the next 3 months this is the return on investment. In as much as it might look like there is no guarantee on how much you would really make, you need to understand that this is a sector that has and faces the risk, climate change risk. You face weather pattern. As in, there are so many risks here that need to be factored in. So if someone is already guaranteeing you and telling you that this is how much you would be making at the end of the day for this, yes, the likelihood is there, especially if they practice precision farming.
Right.
But then as an investor, you need to do your due diligence. Once in a while, you need to be able to ask, where are these farms? Where are these facilities where these monies are being put, for you to also be able to ascertain that yes, what is being practiced here will guarantee the amounts that they are being peddled in the media. So these are some of the things that I believe people should look out for.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM this morning, and I have the Honourable Commissioner for Agriculture here with me, Honourable Abisola Olusanya, and we're reflecting on boosting capacity for participation in agriculture. She's talking about the enormous potentials that we have in this sector, and how can you all tap into it. Potentially as well, this is a sector that can really create loads and loads of jobs. Am I correct, Honourable Commissioner?
Yes.
All right. So let's see if we can also have your input this morning. We're talking about participation within the industry. The ministry is really keen on this roadmap towards developing the industry, and that includes a whole lot of value chains within the sector. Let's have your input as well. If you want to have a word with the Commissioner, feel free to connect with us on 080-99120777. It's a very short conversation that we're having this morning because of time constraints, but let's have your input as well. Or perhaps you're wondering how you can tap into some of these opportunities that she's mentioned. You can feel free to bring that on board right now on 080-99120777. Okay, that's 080-99120777. That's the numbers that you can connect with us. All right, so now that you said there will be expression, okay, let me see if I can take this call. Hello there, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, who am I speaking with?
I'm Alabi from Ikorodu.
All right, Alabi, it's nice to have you. You want to say a word to the Commissioner?
Well, I just want to congratulate her. She has done a very good job. The way she's dishing out all her plans, I just so love it. And I congratulate Lagos State for having the right peg in the right hole.
All right.
I don't want to say more than that.
Yes, but before you go, really, do you know you can really make a lot of things and lots of money from agriculture as well?
I know. By the grace of God, I will key into it also.
Okay, that would be nice. We'd really love to have you. Probably just get to the ministry and find out some of these opportunities one of these days, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right, so Alabi from Ikorodu is the very first caller. No real concerns, but if you know you are really keen at investing in agriculture and you want to do it the right way, this is the woman who's in charge of it right here in Lagos. You might just want to have a conversation with her right now. Okay, you have the opportunity. Hello there. Hello. All right, that's the drop call. 080-99120777 is the numbers to call if you want to have a word with the Commissioner for Agriculture in Lagos. So you said from next week,
yes,
we'll be having expression of interest, right?
Yes.
For the red meat
value chain
and
fisheries.
And fisheries as well.
Yes, and feed mills.
Okay, good. So this expression means that what now? What are people going to be doing? What should they do once they see this expression of interest?
So for the red meat value chain, for instance, what I'm putting out there is the different areas where I'm seeking for investors to come into the space. To say, for instance, I want to set up 10 additional abattoirs in the state.
Oh, good.
We have the particular locations where we feel that abattoirs are not available. That's is the reason why we have a lot of illegal
Like which
slaughter
areas?
slabs.
Like which areas?
So if I look at, let's say, the Ikorodu enclave, for instance, we don't have a proper abattoir in the areas like Imota.
Ah.
Yes. And then if you look at an area like the Ibejuleki Ekpe axis, there's no single abattoir in that space as well.
Okay.
And looking at the amount of investment that is coming into that area, particularly when you consider the Lekki Free Trade Zone, you consider the kind of Dangote refinery, you look at the heavy investments going in that direction.
All right.
That means the population there also is going to explode, and yet we don't have a proper processing facility for red meat. Then you're inviting chaos on your hands. So
All
we
right.
need people to look in that direction to know that, see, these opportunities are bound, and the Lagos state government is ready to help you to be able to set up such that you're also able to harness the opportunity, you're able to harness the potentials in that space.
Are you going to be training them on
Yes,
what
actually,
to do?
we have on what to do. Particular, are you referring now to the abattoir, for
Yes,
instance?
yes.
So yes, for this year we have the Butchers Academy coming up, which is where existing butchers are to be trained in the use of modern day technologies around meat slaughtering, around cutting up carcasses and what have you. So the Butchers Academy is also coming up this year for our butchers, for the stakeholders in the red meat value chain.
Right.
And I believe that, in fact, I'm actually happy you mentioned it. It's one thing for the state to have a Butchers Academy, but if you see that we're also expanding in the red meat value chain, then anyone with the keen sense of wealth or keen sense for making money will also see that the opportunity is there to set up training schools for the different levels of people who will be coming into the space. So this is also, in fact, you've just opened up another opportunity right now without knowing it. So anyone could set up a training school to train people
Good.
in red meat value chain.
And earlier this year, we're just doing some, places, some things that people can invest into. And African Farmer was here. We talked about the first quarter, second quarter, the rice mill in Lagos, most likely kicking off. How soon are we going to realize that?
So for the right, if I look at in terms of the level of works, I'll divide that into the civil works and also the equipment installation. So for civil works, we are at about
for farmers and extensions. And this message is from Asha Akintayo.
Asha Akintayo, thank you so much for that. So even as we gradually wind to an end, how can people tap into these opportunities, the ministry, and then, like he said, website?
Okay, so I'll start with the website for where people can actually get this information. So once you get on the Lagos State website, you click on the Agric link. When you click on the Agric link, this would actually also be formally launched on the 22nd of this month, which is next week, Thursday. We're launching our website, but it is infused under what already exists. So when you click on the link for the Ministry of Agriculture, you see the new website or the new content.
Right. So we're talking about lagosstate.gov.ng.
Yes, you still need to get to lagostate.gov.ng. But when you click on the Ministry of Agric link, then you see that the contents, the format, the flow is different, and then you'll be able to tap into the different opportunities or even the data that you might require or information for the different agencies and departments.
All right. And in the absence of that, they can come to the ministry, right?
Yes, in the absence of that, they can come to the ministry.
Where is it located? Block what?
Block 23.
Block 23.
Yes.
All right, then get there, and of course you can get all the information that is needed for you to really, really be part of this. It's a ministry that is really brimming with lots of opportunities, and you heard from the Honourable Commissioner this morning, well articulated the vision for advancing the cause of development for the agri sector. Honourable Commissioner, nice having you in the building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your parting thoughts in 30 seconds?
Okay, my parting thought will be for inquiries as well. Instead of you coming down to the ministry, you can actually send us an email at Lagos, that is lagosagric@lagosstate.gov.ng. I'll repeat the email address again, lagosagric@lagosstate.gov.ng.
All right, then. So we have to leave it at that for now. It's nice having you in the building. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so I've been speaking with the Honourable Commissioner for Agriculture in Lagos, and we're trying to see how we boost capacity for investment in this sector, considering the roadmap that has been developed by the ministry to ensure that Lagosians have it better, both in the red meat value chain, in the fisheries, as well as chicken feed, and so much more that you have within that sector. Take advantage of all of this, and things will be much better for us all in Lagos. But we have to go. Maximum thanks to Jide Lawal. He's Assistant Director, Public Affairs for the Ministry of Agriculture, putting all of this together. We say big thank you to you. And not forgetting our executive producer, Tayo Akonle. Mike James in the building. All right, tomorrow I'll be back with Your Side Mirror. But till then, have a great day. This is Victor Oteri. I'm out. Stay very much within. Bye.
Make we go farm now. Bring your cutlass. Bring your digger. Bring your hoe. Oya, 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 oya. Make we farm and feed our nation. Make we farm. Make we farm. Make we farm and feed our nation. Make we farm. Make we farm. Make we farm and feed our nation.